Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I am Reverend Theresa Feberts and I know who you are. You are a divine being. You are a unique incarnation of that one life, of that one source, that one substance that has so been excited to express itself in the realm of being that we find ourselves in, that it called you forth. That's who you are. And I am so incredibly grateful that you're here with me this morning, that we're doing this thing called life together, that we're doing this thing called spiritual community together. Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm very, very grateful to have this way of life be my way of life. I'm so grateful to have this supportive and inclusive spiritual community. And I'm so grateful to know the power of that one substance that gives me life. It's creative, it's intelligent, it's everywhere present, all the time at my avail, all the time ready to move in, as, and through me. It's challenging to remember that, isn't it? It's challenging sometimes to remember that when we turn on the news, when we pick up a paper. It can be challenging. We've had more senseless killings, more violence, more news, more events that would call us into an experience of separation. But that's why we come back. That's why we come back to our knowing. That's why we come back to our breath. That's why we come back to CSLCC on Sundays. That's why we take classes. That's why we read. That's why we study. That's why we chant. It's why we do what we do. So we can remember in those challenging moments the truth of who and what we are. Yeah. And then we can be a force for good. We can be a presence that helps bring the entire fullness, allness of humanity into its greater yet to be. Know this, that there's never truly anything that harms us. We're in the allness, in the fullness, in the internal, eternal, infinite, unconditional love and embrace of the divine all the time, all the time. So again, I thank you for being here. I thank you for caring. I thank you for doing your own personal work because it matters. That's the first step in us creating a world that works for everyone, is showing up in our fullness, in our divinity, in our knowingness, and acting from that place. That's how we create change. And I'm expecting nothing less than an awakening, nothing less than an awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence. So this morning, we've got a great morning for you for that. We have a morning where we're going to share a couple new voices, and you're going to see a couple new faces, and I'm very, very excited about that. Our reader this morning, she's not necessarily new to our community, but if you're newer to us, you may not have seen her in a while, and that's Angel Peace, and she's going to share a spoken word that she wrote this morning with us. And she's been with us before in person performing. She was with us last year. And we had a house concert at her home, and you enjoyed her very much. So I'm thrilled to have her back with us. Angel has been a little behind the scenes because she's been taking classes with us, and she's on her road to beginning practitioner training in the fall, and then she'll step into ministerial training right after that. So I'm excited to be on this journey with her. And then probably a new face and a new voice for you is Jessie Powers. And both of these women are coming to you from the Midwest. One's in Kentucky, the other, and right near the border of Ohio, and the other's in Ohio. So they're neighbors, and we're happy to bring them in. Jessie is a very, very talented singer-songwriter. You will be blown away. You will be blown away. I know you will. Just as we were when we were introduced to her at this year's CSL convention at the Vista 2021. We were introduced during the concert series, and everything everything. And everything about this young woman screams brilliance, love, truth, infinite possibilities are moving through her. And you'll see that very, very clearly. On her Facebook page, I'm going to encourage you at the end of the morning together to check out her social media and check out her ministering in the way that she does. I think you're really going to enjoy her and want to pass her along to other people too and introduce her to others. You're going to love her energy. So with that, let me just take a moment to go into prayer with you. Please join me in that place where we know that life can be intentionally created. And so right here, right now, we bring our fullness of attention to the power at work in our word, in our intention, in our opening to the fullness of divine possibility. Recognizing again that there's only one thing happening, that thing called life. It's right here, right now. It is my life. It is moving in as and through me. It is breathing me now. And so I allow its fullness to influence me, to animate me, to bring more joy, more love, more clarity, more focus into my life as to what it is that I am to do. And I affirm this same thing, and I know for each one of us tuning in here at this time, that exactly what it is that nudged us, exactly what we were called to find this morning. We hear vividly, we feel intimately, whether it's through the word, through a reading, through the spoken word, through music, through the message. We are forever awakened and changed by truth. And we know truth by the resonance within ourselves, for that's always where it lies, within ourselves. So here's to our awakening this morning, awakening in Spirit's presence. I know this is true. I know it is so. I claim it to be. I enthusiastically, with expectation, release this word, knowing it is already so in the mind of God. So I accept it here and now, and so it is. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jessie Powers.
That was a beautiful prayer. And thank you so much for that introduction, Rev. I am very excited to be here with you this morning. And a little jealous because I bet it's super warm there and it's not in Ohio. We're going to wake up here joyful and grateful. And then by the end of this song, I'm really going to challenge you to get really playful. Here we go. I woke up this morning joyful as can be. That's how I spend my day and that's how I'll sleep. I woke up this morning joyful as can be. That's how I spend my day and that's how I'll sleep. Sing it with me. I woke up this morning joyful as can be. That's how I spend my day and that's how I'll sleep. Yeah. I woke up this morning joyful as can be. That's how I spend my day and that's how I'll sleep. 'Cause I love being alive. The greatest thing about my life, I love being alive. It's the greatest thing about my life. Grateful. I woke up this morning grateful as can be. That's how I spend my day and that's how I'll sleep. Find something you're grateful for. I woke up this morning grateful as can be. That's how I spend my day and that's how I'll sleep. Embody gratitude. I woke up this morning grateful as can be. That's how I spend my day and that's how I'll sleep. Yes, it is. I woke up this morning grateful as can be. That's how I spend my day and that's how I'll sleep. 'Cause I love being alive. It's the greatest thing about my life. Oh, I love being alive. It's the greatest thing about my life. Okay, now there's one positive thing about this whole live streaming pandemic thing. which is that audience participation doesn't require as much vulnerability. I know sometimes it's very hard when you're in an audience and someone asks you to sing or be very silly, which I'm about to ask you to do, and there's other people around, but guess what? There's no one around. So do this with me, all right? We're gonna get really playful, and that includes silly voices and dancing with weird faces and accents and animal sounds. Ready? Here we go. I woke up this morning playful as can be. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I'll sleep. Meow, 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 meow. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I'll sleep. Do it again. I woke up this morning playful as can be. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I'll sleep. Like an opera singer. I woke up this morning playful as can be. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I'll sleep. 'Cause I love being alive. It's the greatest thing about my life. Oh, I love being alive. Meow, 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 meow. Dancing, dancing. Let's do a dance break. Here we go. It's the greatest thing about my life. I love being alive. It's the greatest thing about my life. One more time. I love being alive. It's the greatest thing about my life. Meow, meow, meow. I hope you guys got a sweat out of that.
Thank you, Jessie. That was amazing. I am Angel Peace. I'm excited to be with you today. And as you were singing, just watching your freedom, I mean, you don't take yourself too seriously, and you let yourself play, and you let yourself have fun, and just allow spirit to flow through you in such a beautiful, beautiful way and beautiful expression. And I honor that in you as a performer and as a person, as a human. I experience that vulnerability that I'm sure you experience as well, but I struggle more with the just letting it flow and taking myself too seriously sometimes. So thank you for that beautiful experience, beautiful reminder. And I was just smiling the entire time. Thank you for that heart connection. When Theresa told me that I was going to be doing the reading today, she told me that the topic was bless-itation, which she also told me is not actually a word, but it's the blessing and the hesitation coming together. And I've thought a lot about that in so many different aspects, and so many different ways do hesitation and blessing come hand in hand, and some that are chosen and some that aren't. COVID was not a chosen thing that was happening to us, and a global pandemic and isolation in the sense of being in our homes. We're all very much so connected. But that was a huge blessing in my life in many, many ways, including having the opportunity to start my classes through this center and having so many different things that I've learned about myself. And yes, there was hesitation. There was hesitation on many ends. And it wasn't something that I felt that I was choosing, but was being chosen for me. It was being chosen. So how can I find the blessing in that? How can I find my center and my knowing and my growth through these experiences? And I didn't have a choice of my son being home from school for a year, and it was a blessing. And there was a lot of hesitation. Many of you have been in class with me know the things that we've gone through, but also I was able to learn about him. I was able to have those experiences and able to get to know him in a new way and get a diagnosis for him that is going to help us understand him and serve his growth through his entire life. So there are so many blessings, even when we feel hesitant to see them, hesitant to accept them, along with the ones that we do choose. And I mean, this is such a great topic. I've thought about it, and we have used the word bless-itation in our house this week, even thinking about it. So in that knowing, I wrote a spoken word piece called Bless-itation just for this experience. The blessing, but where does it begin? Is it in the beginning or is it in the end? The end of what we once knew for all that we become, or is it in the unification where we all become one? Is it where we know nothing or where we know ourselves? Is it where everything melts away even just for one single day? For our blessings come with some light to share. It's where our darkness runs, that I am aware. See, the hesitation comes when we want to run and hide because the blessings sometimes come in disguise. It may not be as I imagined, but with clarity comes compassion. So may I be gentle. May I learn not to run, and may my blessings be in who I've become. May I honor myself and honor my pain, for without it, I know that I would not be the same. I may not have felt for others in the way that I do, and I may not have seen myself in you. For all that I have experienced and all that I continue to learn expands my journey and my ability to serve, my ability to know and my ability to care, my ability to see you even when you cannot see yourself there. And the moments when you feel lost and you don't know what else to do, your blessings will come and I can hold space for you. I can listen to your pain and honor where you are because, my darling, I too have known scars. I've healed pain and I've known shame. I've learned to release the blame, honoring that I'll always change and I'll always grow. The pursuit of truth is what I long to know. I have fallen and I have learned to fly. I've let go and I've embraced my why. I've risen to the occasion more than I ever thought that I would because my blessings have taught me that I could. They remind me that I can, and they remind me of who I am. See, because I've known hesitation. I've known being afraid of the fall. I've known hesitation when you feel you know nothing at all. I've known hesitation in wanting to run from the pain. I've known hesitation that I'll never be the same. I've known hesitation when there's no one else left to blame. See, I've known hesitation when you don't know what else to do, so you surrender and let your blessings wash over you. Get out of your own way, because today is your day. What a blessing it is to grow, and what a blessing it is to know. What a blessing it is to heal, and what a blessing it is to feel. What a blessing it is to fall, and what a blessing it is to not have to know it all. What a blessing it is to trust in the divine, and what a blessing it is to know divine time. What a blessing it is to be alive today, and what a blessing it is to live in a new way. What a blessing it is to not be afraid of the fall, and what a blessing it is to know it'll be okay after all. What a blessing it is to surrender it over to you, and what a blessing it is to know that it's not all mine to do. There is such a blessing in the sweet release, for in our alignment we find our peace. So I release hesitation, and with gratitude for it all, I allow myself to answer the call. For I see now what is mine to do, and remember that the answers come in alignment with you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding space and being a part of this universal experience. And with that connection and with that knowing, I invite Jessie back to share another beautiful song with us.
That was so beautiful, Angel. Thank you so much. That inspires me to sing a little bit about letting ourselves be guided through the unknown and right into the arms of love, into those blessings. Can you feel my love? Let it wrap you up in a warm body. It is more than enough that you are simply breathing right now. You bring your highs, you bring your lows. You try to prove to me you don't deserve anything. I'll keep holding the space for you to simply be here right now. And it's a hard road to loving yourself. It's a hard thing to believe it enough to be loved by somebody else. You may be lost, you may be shaken and confused, but none of this is gonna dissuade me from loving you. And all this darkness is just a feeling, and it's feelings that make you grow. And when you're growing, it means you're healing, making your way to where you let resistance go. And I can show you the way, and I can reassure you that through it all, I'm gonna stay. Won't you let me in? I am standing at your door, waiting. I don't care if it's a mess in there. I just wanna see you shine as you are. And it's a hard road to loving yourself. It's a hard thing to believe it enough to be loved by somebody else. You may be lost, you may be shaken and confused, but none of this is gonna dissuade me from loving you. And all this darkness is just a feeling, and it's feelings that make you grow. And when you're growing, it means you're healing, making your way to where you let resistance go. And I can show you the way, and I can reassure you that through it all, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay. Ooh, and I love you, darling, whether or not you believe that I do. Oh, and I love you, sugar, so open up and receive what I'm giving you. Oh, and all this darkness is just a feeling, and it's feelings that make you grow. And when you're growing, it means you're healing, making your way to where you let resistance go. And I can show you the way. Oh, I can reassure you that through it all, I'm gonna stay.
Beautiful, 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 Jessie. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Such talent, such wisdom, such love. Angel, too. Thank you so much. Beautiful. I'm seeing some of the comments. We'll have you both back for sure. So this month, we're stepping into the unknown. So how perfect to have two new voices with us, yes? Stepping into the unknown. And specifically this week, as Angel said, we're looking at this dichotomy, this paradox of bless-itation. And it's coming after last month, after March. In March, we were opening ourselves to Spirit's highest possibilities for our lives, for the highest, the greater yet to be, opening our consciousness to asking and listening to answers around what is ours to do. Yeah? How does Spirit want to dance and play as us through our lives? And we were feeling into the questions. And when we do that, we are naturally opening ourselves up to change. We're saying, bring it on, right? Because we're inviting something new into our lives. And we talked about that last week. And so we want to do that with a sense of curiosity and certainly with a sense of trust, with a sense of confidence as we navigate this path. And so we do so with what I love to call practical spirituality. You know, we have one foot in our humanity and we have one foot in our divinity. And that's how we traverse. That's how we take this journey. And so we were utilizing last month, learning and utilizing the spiritual practice of visioning. And I want to just do a quick review on that. So if you're new and you popped in today, then you've got a little context for what we're talking about. In this opening to our infinite possibilities, we're engaging our intuition, right? We're listening to our gut, some people say. And the spiritual principle of visioning is something that was developed by Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith. Many of you know who he is, out of LA, the Agape International out of LA. So he's calling us to make space, a deliberate time, a time of meditation, a time of really sinking into the fact that we live and move and have our being in an unconditionally loving universe. Yes, that there's an activity going on, and it happens in, as, and through us, and that we can invite it in, and we can listen to that still small voice. We can sense into it. And this is a formal way of practice that he's teaching us, intentional, meditative, specific questions and a specific way of listening. We're sensing into feelings and listening beyond and seeing beyond the five senses that we're used to using. And we're doing so in a way of non-judgment, in a way of acceptance, letting it come. And so we can also do this informally. And we've been talking about that over the last month and a half, you know, where we just get these intuitive hunches, and we can ask, you know, for wisdom about any old thing. You know, which way am I going to go to the grocery store today, left or right when I pull out of the driveway? Just little things like that. So we can be looking for new ideas, a deepening of our sense of purpose and meaning in our lives. We can be looking for solutions to problems that we face, because they're always within us. Or we can be playing and just asking, like I said, you know, what am I going to wear this morning? And then go with it. All of it is exercising a new muscle for most of us. We're exercising a new muscle. So today we're looking at how then do we take this new journey, which is filled always with a sense of anticipation and excitement when we start off on something new, but yet then the hesitations creep in, as Angel was so accurately talking about, right? there's a paradoxical state in that, in this bless-itation, the combination of blessings and hesitations. And last week we talked extensively about paradox, how the spiritual seeker is inviting change. And when we say that we want a deeper walk with the divine, shift is bound to happen then. Yet, we like certainty, don't we? Most of us do. That's what the studies show. Well, Brene Brown, you know her work. She's a fabulous researcher. She confirms that our desire for certainty and that we have a need to be right. And often those two things are like pitting against one another, right? She says this, that often we choose and then defend one way of knowing the world. Like we get this idea, this is how the world works. We've got one way of knowing the world at the expense of all the other ways of knowing the world, all the other possibilities. And then our faith and reason can often clash, right? She says faith and reason clash and create uncomfortable tensions. And this is what her work has been around, really researching that and talking to people and finding out how they navigate what happens. And she finds that it's our fear of the unknown, and our fear of being wrong that create most of our conflict and anxiety. Fear of the unknown and fear of being wrong. So I just want to take a little look at that because I'm assuming that might resonate with you. I know that it resonates with me somewhat, but there was a time in my life where I was debilitated from those fears, unable to move. So Brene Brown goes on and she offers us a beautiful definition of faith. She said, it's a place of mystery. Well, I think of God as the mystery. Yeah? She says, faith is a place of mystery where we find the courage to believe in what we cannot see and the strength to let go of our fear of uncertainty. Well, that reminds me of one of my very favorite quote by, again, Michael Bernard Beckwith, that he says, when we believe more in what we don't see than what we do see, then what we do see we won't see, and what we don't see we will see. Got it? When we believe more in what we don't see, then what we do see we won't see, and what we don't see we will see. That is faith. And that is bringing on a positive change in our lives. So if you, like me, and like all of CSLs, envision humanity waking up to our spiritual magnificence, then we want to make use of these ideas, right? We want to discover and make use of the creative power of thought. We want to shift old habits, old ways of being that don't serve us any longer. Like we want to proactively do this thing. Yeah? This thing called life. And one way to do that is our communion with the infinite. Our communion with that invisible oneness, going into and deeply feeling that unity that's there for us. It's like falling in love with the mystery. It's possible. It's possible. And doubt can help us get there. Bet you didn't think I was going to say that. Doubt, our hesitations, can be blessings. They can be opportunities for us to connect deeper. An invitation for us to sit a little longer and listen. Our hesitations can be blessings in our lives. That's the paradox. It's a fundamental principle of New Thought that there isn't God and God's life, or God and the earth, and God and what I'm doing today. Anytime we say God and, we're in duality. Yeah? So substitute the word universe or love or essence or energy, whatever feels spirit, whatever feels right for you, the same thing abides. Then we're in duality. There's only one life. There's only one life. Call it divine life, call it creative intelligence coming from the invisible source and substance of all life into form, but it's my life. But it's my life, and it's your life. It's our life. And we want to move with confidence in our lives. Like, yeah, play, like Jessie says. You know, play with the sense that there's no harm that could come to us. Brene Brown, again, in her research, found, and I marvel at this often when I'm observing life. She says, many forms of fundamentalism and extremism are about choosing certainty over faith. I want you to think about that. Extremism, fundamentalism, choosing certainty over faith. Do we not see that playing out in the news? I believe that we do. You know, people that are fearful of change are acting out and do act out. We've done it ourselves, I'm sure. But there's a perceived loss, a threat against one's very way of life. And I think that that's what we see playing out in white supremacy, and the idea that should someone else gain privilege, then mine is diminished, which is not the case at all. There's more than enough for everyone. There's more than enough. It's an infinite universe in which we live and have our being. But there's a fear of differences that are at play. Skin color, sexual orientation, sexual identification. And so people are willing to push their family members away. Yeah, because of rigid beliefs. Because of rigid beliefs. Instead of going into that realm of love, which is pretty doggone hard to define, isn't it? Into that expansion of love, of acceptance, of unity. And there is a paradox there, is there not? That we find our oneness, we find our unity in our differences. Because there's that seed, that spark, that spirit within each one of us, that urge of life to express itself. And we recognize it in each other. There's a universal love that comes into form, multiplying, diversifying itself into all these unique expressions that we are. This is a very new thought principle to embrace the paradox. Of course, it's Taoism, but it's ours too. Yeah, and that we're experimenting all the time with a hypothesis. This is something that Ernest Holmes said, you know, I'm giving you a hypothesis, play with it. See if it's not true for yourself. That's how he calls this the science of mind, because he says, prove it. Life is about expansion and growth. It's fluid and it's flowing, it's evolving and it's growing. Don't you want to go with it? And do you always have to know what's going to be on the other side of the closed door? Or up the mountain? No, we don't. Anne Lamott, who I love her books, she says the opposite of faith is not doubt. The opposite of faith is not doubt, but certainty. So check that. Yeah? Check your certainty. Check when you're in that place where you think you know what's right, but yet when you sit with it, you can kind of feel that, maybe I'm out of alignment a little bit here. Big and small ways we want assurances. But a life lived freely and fully can't by definition be predicted. It can't by definition be contained. It's not by definition small or known, right? I got a great example for you. It's a silly one, but here it is. I'm going to get my hair cut. You know, I only had my hair done once during COVID. So I've got an appointment. I'm going to go get my hair done. And I want to get it cut short again. You know, I always had kind of like this pixie / mullet thing going on. So I kind of want to go back to that. And And it's just fun and playful for me. Well, I asked my friend the other day, what do you think? Do you think I should get my hair cut spiky again and go back to that and a little fringy thing? And she says, I don't know. Why are you asking me? Ask Spirit. And I thought, well, I'm asking you because you look at me all the time. But then I had to bring that home and say, she's right. I vision about everything. Why don't I ask Spirit? You know, we do that with all kinds of things. We're out there polling our friends, right? What do you think? What do you think I should do? How do you think I should respond? What all you think I should tell them? You know, what do you think my choices are? We're always asking each other that. And is that going to give us any guarantee anyway? I want to pay attention to where we're seeking guidance. There's times when hesitation is good. Yes, there are times when hesitation is good. And that's a call for us to listen within, to go deep, and to listen, to get real. And that is been used so many times in my life. So many times. Another example, Bobby and I, we were visioning for selling our home and buying a new home, and visioning for when was the time right to sell the home, how would we sell the home, all of those kinds of things. And we got nothing for a while. We'd ask specific questions like, should we go ahead and negotiate with so-and-so? And there'd be nothing, or something super vague, not enough to go on. That is your clue to wait. To wait. You know, there's times where a hesitation maybe is a good thing. Maybe it's time to gather more information. Maybe simply the time is not right. And we waited and proved that that was the right answer, to wait. Proved that there was going to be a better time, because it worked out later at a better time, much better for us. So this kind of insight, we received the same thing in starting this community. But it was the opposite. It wasn't a hesitation. It was a go, 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 go right now. It was not the time to hesitate. And see, we can develop these skills. It's like I said, it's like exercising a muscle. We can develop these skills in listening and really get good at fine-tuning. What's the hesitation? Is there more to be investigated? Listening for what's behind there. Maybe it's a residue from your past, which I would say is probably proof, well, you would say that it's proof that you're justified in not moving forward. But what I'm going to say is principle is not bound by precedence, right? You've heard that before in this teaching. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Today is a new day. At every moment, we have the fullness, the expansiveness of the divine rushing to express through us, rushing to show us a greater way to be, show us more love, show us more abundance, bring us more health, bring us more clarity. All of that is always right in here. So it doesn't matter what happened yesterday. So check that. When you find yourself stuck in hesitation and you listen deeply and it seems like it's based in past experiences, I suggest it's time for some courage. What about if it seems like it's steeped in, your hesitation is steeped in inferiority? You know, that complex that says, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough money. I'm not skilled enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know enough of the right people. What if you listen deeply enough and you hear that? Well, that's an easy one. That right there, my friends, is you've slipped into separation. You're not in divine awareness. You're in duality. You're in God and. Yeah? Because in the divine, that one, there's only one life, and it's rushing to experience in, as in, through you and me. So we want to, when we recognize that, we want to shift our thinking. I've asked this question often. Is it a friendly universe? Or are we going to hell in a handbasket? Ask yourself that. See what pops up. This is a friendly universe. It is loving and supportive. It is a really safe place to explore and to play and to have fun. Emerson said this: don't be too timid and squeamish about your actions. All life is an experiment, and the more experiences you make, the better. Sorry, the more experiments you make, the better. I love that. Don't be too timid. Don't be too squeamish about your actions. Really, the definition of a mistake is an action or a judgment that has been misguided. And there's a clue there. An action or a judgment that was misguided. So where are we getting our guidance? Where are we getting our advice? Is it an inward ask? Or are we asking our girlfriend? Or are we asking the news? Or are we asking friends and family? Are we sticking to tradition? It's only one place. There's only one place to go for our guidance. And here's a caveat. If you want security and you want safety, if you want a sure bet, you can have it there, but it requires a radical reliance, a radical acceptance that this is a friendly universe. Last week, I introduced in our Zoom after the service a prayer by Father Thomas Keating called the Welcoming Prayer. And it is an invitation to do exactly that, to surrender our need for safety, to surrender our need for acceptance. Big, huh? It feels big. But that really is that free fall. That really is that fall in love with the divine, fall in love with the unknown, fall in love with the mystery. It's a free fall into the divine grace and the universal goodness that is here all the time for us. And it may feel a little uncomfortable at first. So you feel your discomfort? Go there. Ask it. What is it? What's it all about? You feel your anger? Go there. You fear your sadness, your shame, your guilt, whatever those experiences, those feelings that come up, go there. Listen, learn. Because that is when you're truly empowered. And I read this by one of those wise women on Facebook, known as Jessie Powers, just last night. Look, nobody's counting. Nobody's counting how many, quote, mistakes we make or how many times we change direction. We can choose and choose and choose and choose again and again and again. One of my favorite examples of that comes from Mary Mann Morrissey, where she talks about if every time you go past the garage door, you feel that ickiness that says you're not a good housekeeper, you're not doing what you need to do, you need to clean the garage. That garage is a mess. You put it on your to-do list and you haven't cleaned it, you need to clean your garage. And she says, make a new agreement. If you're not going to clean the garage, you don't want to clean the garage, it is not your passion to clean the garage, get it off the list. Just take it off the list. I'm not going to do it. I love that. We can choose and choose and choose again. And we can try things out. We can play. We can try things. We can experiment. We can experiment. You've heard me say this too before, but I love the image. You know how you test a spaghetti noodle to see if it's done. Throw it against the wall. My dad used to do that. Well, I had somebody tell me that I throw things against the wall and see if they stick, as if that was some insult. And I thought, yeah, man, because if it doesn't, I'll do it again. I'll try again. Throw it against the wall. That's the canvas of your life. See what wants to stick. It's an experiment. I call you to embrace this thing called life. This one life, this one energy, this one power, and this one presence that wants nothing more than to express and expand and explore and experience a greater level of livingness in, as, and through you. It wants to shine through you. Trust in that goodness, even in the darkness. Trust in that goodness. I will encourage you to daily tell yourself that there is no such thing as a mistake, that I am exploring and I am experiencing, and I am one with this thing called life. That is what I know for each one of you, here and now. And so it is. And now we're going to head off to Jessie for another song.
Go ahead.
Jessie, I think you're muted, sweetie.
Thank you. So we're talking about playing, letting go, and getting good at letting go. It's an art form. It really is. Like throwing spaghetti on a wall. I loved that, by the way. Sometimes it feels like my heart is stuck in a revolving door. It can get me down so much I don't even want to mess with it anymore. Oh, that too familiar feeling, oh, I know it well, but I don't let it get too far. No, I'm too good at staying cool now. Yes, I am learning the art, and I'm getting good at letting go, yeah, getting good at giving it over, 'cause I know it ain't in my hands. I'm getting good at letting go, yeah, getting good at giving it over, 'cause I know, though I do not understand, my soul's always got something better planned. I just have to say this. I realized the other day that when we're talking about playing and trying to figure out what it is that we want, really what we're talking about is getting closer and closer to our alignment, what feels good to us, you know? And in order to do that, we gotta be able to practice letting go and letting our true desires shine through. When the shadow comes creeping in like a thief from my past, I turn on the light by remembering only my soul knows my path. And I'm getting good at letting go, yeah, getting good at giving it over, 'cause I know it ain't in my hands. So I'm getting good at letting go, yeah, getting good at giving it over, 'cause I know, though I do not understand, my soul's always got something better planned, and I am unburdened. Yes, I am free when I believe. Yeah. If I just keep trusting, if I keep the faith, I know I'll see. When I let go, and I know when I let go, and I know that my soul's always God. Yes, my soul's always God. Oh, my soul's always got something better planned. So I'm gonna throw spaghetti against the wall and see if that's what my soul has in store for me. Something better is always coming along. All you have to do is just let go. All you have to do is know. All you have to do is just let go. Know it in your bones. Have some faith, and you will see that something better is always coming. Always coming. Just go outside and let the sun shine on your face and play all day. It's magic. It's magic. Oh, something better, something better, something better is coming along. Something better, something better, something better.
Wow, I am inspired. Thank you, Jessie. Thank you, Jessie. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Theresa. Woo, what a morning. So throwing something against the wall. Henry David Thoreau says, when we move confidently in the direction of, to me, that's throwing something against the wall. It's maybe a little more eloquently stated than throwing spaghetti against the wall, but it is making a commitment in moving in a direction, because spirit can only move through us when we move. You know, we've got to move in a direction, and then the course corrections will happen on their own. I've seen it happen. I know it's happened for me, and I know it's happened for many other people that I'm involved with. So, in moving in the direction of supporting this wonderful thing called Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Codes, move in the direction of sharing from the abundance that is infinitely given to each one of us, knowing that we are constantly fed, constantly provided for, constantly in the flow of this abundant universe. And as we move in it, it supports us in every moment. I was reminded of something I was reading just last night about the Indiana Jones movie, where he's trying to save his father and he needs to go across a chasm, and he reads all of the symbols like Indiana Jones did, and finally he realizes he just has to step off the edge, and as he steps off the edge, this huge stone rises up as the bridge. A dear friend of mine wrote a song. It's called basically has the lyric that says, leap and the bridge will appear. That is spirit. That is being in the flow, being in the magic that Jessie just talked about. So if you haven't given before, step off the edge and try something new. You will understand the abundance that will come in your direction as a result of creating a new space. So I know that Evan is posting the 4 ways that you can make that happen if you're not already doing it in an automatic way, which I love, because then I know I never forget my checkbook and I never forget to write a check, but I just know that I get a notice on my email, so I'm consciously aware that my gift has been given. So I am inspired this day. I'm just really lifted into a new space, and I will not be bless-itating any longer. No more bless-itation. I am moving into the blessing and the space of movement, and I ask you all to join me. Peace and blessings. And now back over to Bobby.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Emil. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
Stay here.
All right.
I just have a quick announcement. Thank you again for being here with us this morning. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Jessie.
Mm-hmm.
These 2 young women just are full of spirit, aren't they? And letting their light shine. And I'm so thrilled that we were able to bring them to you this morning. And you're going to have opportunities to stay apprised of what's going on with their careers and their movements, and opportunities to support them as well. Jessie has a new album coming out, and she's going to share her contact through social media, ways that we can find her on Facebook and that type of thing right now in the chat. And also today, this afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern, she's going to quick zoom over to the UK, and she's going to be at a New Thought Center in the UK with their community doing music and talking about what inspires her songs. So if you're interested in that, you can go on Facebook and find that information as well. I saw it there last night. And with that, I'm going to go post our Zoom for our social time afterwards, and I look forward to seeing you there. I'm going to have some specific questions for you based on today's talk that we can have some deep conversation around. All right? Mwah. Blessings. I love you. Blessings. Blessings. I love you. I love you. Bobby's going to finish us out. Thank you.
Don't forget, if you'd like prayer support, prayer@cslculturalcoast.org. Email us. There's a light at the center of everyone. It can light up the world just like the sun. There's a flame within us that can light our way. It can burn away the darkness of a troubled day. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Whenever you see darkness, you've got to know that the light is within you. Everywhere you go, whatever you are facing, whatever's on your mind, you can help illuminate it. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine.
Woo!
Let your light shine.
Woo!